We thought it would be amusing to take a look at some of the strangest incidents that have resulted in an NBA game being delayed. From broken limbs to leaks and protests, the court of the NBA is home to some wild and crazy stories. Let's see which delays have made it to the news. First up, a bent rim got all the glory. In a matchup of the NBA's Eastern and Western Conference leaders in January, the Denver Nuggets defeated the Boston Celtics, but all the attention following the game concerned a bent rim. Before it was corrected, 6 personnel, 2 ladders, a level, phone calls, and finally a crew member was called to remove the backboard's rim. According to ESPN, the game was marred by a strange 35 minutes, during which officials hurriedly tried to level one of the rims that seemed to have been wrenched out of alignment by the Celtics' Robert Williams III. With 8:06 remaining in the fourth quarter, the 25-year-old clung to the basket after slamming home a strong dunk. Workers inside the Ball Arena were called to the scene during a timeout with 6:43 remaining in the game to address the problem. One technician was first thought to be sufficient, but after he failed to level it sufficiently, several personnel, ladders, and spirit levels were used in an absurd spectacle. Williams admitted to reporters after the game that he only realized he was at fault after his teammates told him. Rocky, the mountain lion, the mascot for Denver, even pretended to mend the rim on the opposing side of the court while holding a short ladder. After Boston was defeated 123-111, Jaylen Brown acknowledged that the delay had an impact on the game. He added that such antics can result in injuries and worrisome delays. Fortunately, that didn't occur, but it would have been bad. He thought the whole thing was handled badly, and that had an effect on the final results. Fortunately, no one was wounded. Next, smack talk comes at a price. On December 14th of last year, the Warriors were playing the Bucks at home, and Milwaukee was leading by 23 points in the third quarter when the game was stopped due to an argument between Draymond Green and a Bucks fan. When questioned about the incident, Green had the supporter expelled by the referees and provided a dramatic response, to say the least. After the game, Green said that what happened was some serious stuff. He went on record to say that the fans' actions were threatening to his life. He was on the verge of going back and diving in completely, but instead, he decided to play it cool and informed the official. He agreed that the fan needed to go after he explained what he had said to the official, and he was successfully eliminated. And failed protests are all the rage these days. Another protester was present on the court during a Minnesota Timberwolves playoff game in April 2022. This time, it took place in the third period of the Timberwolves-Grizzlies Game 4 in Minnesota. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting the most bizarre reasons for delays. A few minutes into the third quarter, Patrick Beverley sped into the open space and sent a pass up to Karl Anthony Towns. A woman attempted to run onto the court and interfere with the game as he was about to make a shot after she leaped from the second row. She did not get very far though, as a security guard sitting nearby noticed her attempts and quickly pursued her down before she could even begin to object. The play was halted as numerous additional security guards ran onto the court and quickly removed the woman without much of a fuss. The demonstrator belonged to an organization called Direct Action Everywhere, and they are upset with Timberwolves owner Glenn Taylor for what they claim to be animal abuse at farms owned by Rembrandt Enterprises. Please, rain, go away. Tuesday night's Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals in Dallas featured the Splash Brothers on the court, but Dallas's issues were exacerbated by the weather outside the American Airlines Center. The downpour started to fall through what appeared to be roof leaks, delaying the rain while water dripped onto the court from above. The Mavericks were up 62-47 during the halftime break when the rain started to fall inside the arena, adding 16 minutes to the break. Twitter users shared hilarious memes and took a dig at the rainfall crisis. One user shared a referee putting up a bandage on the leak site, which was how management was handling the problem. Another broken rim, another delay. The NBA surprises you just when you think you've seen it all. Due to a misaligned rim and backboard, there was a significant delay during a nationally broadcast game between the Dallas Mavericks and Philadelphia 76ers back in February 2022. Mavericks All-Star Luka Doncic screamed for the referee's attention after hitting a three-pointer with just 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and noticing that the American Airlines center rim was slanted to the right. Boban Marjanovic, a 7'4" center for the Mavericks, walked onto the floor, grabbed the rim, and gave it a few good shakes to save the situation. Sadly, all of his efforts were in vain because it was ultimately decided that the entire basket needed to be replaced. You can now understand why backup baskets are required at every NBA stadium. The devoted facilities team got to work and eventually managed to install the new basket. Play some ball, huh? Wrong. A further delay was required to lower the rim to the required 10-foot height, since the replacement basket turned out to be excessively high. The Mavericks and 76ers social media accounts played a whole game of tic-tac-toe while the game was stopped for an extended period. Any method of passing the time. After a delay of more than 40 minutes, which included a brief warm-up for both teams, the game finally started with the 76ers leading 19-17. Of course, they don't want the smoke in 2013. A generator blew up and caught fire an hour before tip-off between the Timberwolves and Spurs in Mexico City, and smoke filled the arena back in 2013. When the players were warming up, a witness reported that they heard an explosion in the stadium. Smoke started to appear on the court, and some of the arena's lights went out. Fortunately, no one was said to have been hurt. We wonder if the NBA looked into acquiring hazmat suits instead of inflammable jerseys. Yikes. A preseason filibuster in 2009. The New York Knicks were playing Maccabi Tel Aviv in a preseason game when a delay occurred that they weren't quite prepared for. Maccabi coach Pini Gershon refused to leave the field after being disqualified. An 8-minute delay resulted as a result, and Rabbi Yitzhak David Grossman even got involved to try and mediate the situation. Gershon eventually went. Yaniv Green of Maccabi remarked of his coach, "He's a character," as you witnessed today. And it's high time leaks were taken seriously. Before the Kings returned to Cleveland on April 15th, 2013, the Quicken Loans scoreboard leaked fluid, seemingly still in tears over LeBron James' departure to the Miami Heat and unable to see the future. To correct it, the entire board has to be lowered. At least Moondog, the Cavs mascot, enjoyed himself. This situation might not have been amusing. Fortunately, nobody was reported wounded or ill when smoke from a generator breakdown outside the arena forced an evacuation and led to the postponement of the Minnesota Timberwolves and San Antonio Spurs regular season game in Mexico City. Up next, Bat Mania took over the NBA in 2009 and 2011. In the same building, two of the most notorious delays in NBA history occurred at the same periods. Wow, that's freaky. Manu Ginobili knocked a bat out of the air that had entered the stadium while the Sacramento Kings were playing the Spurs on Halloween, of all days, which of course resulted in rabies vaccinations. Even PETA noticed it, and it's safe to say that they weren't impressed. In a statement, they said that now is the time for everyone, but especially athletes, to behave themselves among all animals and demonstrate that they are more than just reactionary brawn. A season later, Ginobili avoided getting too close to the small player the second time, and the bat instead struck an unintentional fan in the stands. And Hugo's antics were a bit lackluster. The home team's mascot, Hugo, attempted the Ring of Fire after quarter one of the 2008 Game 1 playoff series between the Spurs and the New Orleans Hornets. Hugo cleared the leap with no issues, but the ring's extinguishment and cleanup went incorrect, causing foam to cover the court and a 20-minute delay. Following the event, NBA Commissioner David Stern criticized in-arena fireworks, saying that it was time to scale back the pyrotechnics at NBA games. 1994 was the year of a water bath, when the Alamo Dome sprinkler system was activated before the season opener between Golden State and the Spurs. In 1994 to 1995, the game was delayed for 50 minutes. Around 2,900 gallons per minute, or 12,000 gallons of water, were reportedly thrown onto spectators, players, and coaches in just 4 minutes. David Robinson, a legendary Spurs player, recalls it. That event, according to him, was nearly unreal. It was hilarious. It's impossible not to laugh. Everyone in attendance that day was convinced they had witnessed a bizarre, historical event. Next, Chocolate Thunder strikes back in 1979. Chocolate Thunder, the first Rim Ripper, was arguably one of the most fascinating personalities in NBA history. In 1979, Dawkins smashed the backboard for the first time, but he didn't appear surprised. Although Shaquille O'Neal and Chip Douglas emulated his groundbreaking achievement, Daryl "Chocolate Thunder" Dawkins is credited with making backboard breaking popular. Of course, every time he moved, which was first observed in 1979, the in-arena operations personnel were compelled to insert a fresh basket. Lastly, NBA's first rainout in 1986. The league's first game to be postponed because of bad weather occurred when the Supersonics and Phoenix Suns played. It seemed only natural that it would happen in soggy Seattle. After waiting for over an hour, referees decided to end the game in the second quarter due to the long, leaky roof of the former Coliseum, which had supposedly been opened by spectators. The Seattle Center Entertainment Complex includes the Coliseum, which is situated just north of the city center. The 1962 World's Fair saw the area open. That's a wrap, folks. Which of these delays did you catch live? Comment below. Like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting news.